Funnily enough, if you had asked me to play this game maybe 2 months ago, I would have been like, nah, no way. Like if a girl that I was talking to asked me to play this game, I would have told her no because it's way too emotionally vulnerable from what I understand about
You would
the
have
game.
said no?
Yeah, I would have been like, I'm not down for that. Let's just go do something casual. Let's go to a bar.
Dude, you took off your glasses.
Yeah, I took them off.
I feel honored. Wait, did you have them on for the last one we did?
Maybe. Sometimes they're on, sometimes they're off.
What
But my
determines
eyes
the
just
vibe?
hurt after a while if I wear them. I've been wearing them all day.
Really?
Bro,
Yeah,
I don't think
my
your
eyes-
eyes are supposed to hurt when you
Not
wear
hurt,
glasses
but
too
like-
long.
I don't know how to explain it. Sometimes I just want my regular eyes to get exercise.
You know, my mom, when I was growing up, she thought if you wear glasses, your eye muscles get weak. So she'd always make sure I got a prescription that was just slightly too So like I'd be looking,
No,
but
she's
like
smart.
my eyes are working.
She's woke.
Right.
That's
So
how
like
it works.
I like be like, yo, I can't see the front of the board when I'm in class. And teachers be like, oh my God, Eric, get new glasses. I go and get new glasses. And I feel like I still can't see. And they'd be like, what the f? And I'd be like, my mommy doesn't want my eyes to get weak. Not like you Americans. We know how it really works.
When did she finally realize?
I don't think she ever did. But when I grew up and I learned that Google was the thing, one day I started to Google all the things my mom used to tell me. I was just like, does eye strain make your muscles stronger?
dude, Asian moms always have the wildest theories. They'll just like what was something crazy that you're
Same. Like my mom used to make me exercise by like looking at things far away.
Yeah, mine too. Does that not actually? But to me, that
I think it'll work. I think
to
it
me that
works
makes
like
kind of sense, right?
Up until this moment, I've never questioned that this obviously works. Now I'm like, what if it's just Asian mother wisdom?
I've I like looked up like stories of people restoring their vision, and the like a lot of like the common ones is that like they would not use their glasses or whatever thing they had to improve their vision and practice looking at things far away. And I was like, whoa, that's like what my mom used to tell me. I was like, either she's completely right or this is a lie of a story.
There are people that have improved their eyesight from exercising their eyes.
Yep.
See, I feel like that just gives Asian parents worldwide ammo to be like, if you need glasses, that's your fault. You need to work harder. My mom
Make
told
your
me,
eyes work harder.
Exactly. My mom told me that if I'm looking at green things, that actually helps. I don't know if you've
Looking?
heard that one. Like green, the color green. It just looking at it makes your eyes better.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe in that
Help you
one.
out. Let me help you out.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
It's like just let's take a green laser pointer, just beam it into your pupils. Be like, my mom says this helps. I
How bad are your eyes?
think I'm like -8.
Ooh.
I don't know what the scale is.
That's
Yeah.
what, you're one of the first few people I know that's worse than mine.
Oh, like legitimately blind. What are you?
Wait,
Mine-
you're legitimately
-6.
blind?
Almost legitimately blind.
You're really?
He's like worse than I am. I'm blind.
Yeah, you said you're -6.
Yeah.
I'm -8.
But what does that mean? You take off your glasses and like I'm a blur?
Yeah.
Like you can't.
I can only see your nose.
Are you legally loud on the road?
Bro, even with glasses, I'm a bad driver. So probably without them, absolutely not. You know, with my co-founder and I, when it comes to driving, if we've gone to like an event, he's like one drink or whatever. It's like an honest question. It's like slightly buzzed Will or like completely sober Eric a better driver. It's like, I don't know. You know, so actually the girl I've been seeing, she
You
really...
got a new girl?
Same girl. So still seeing her.
Oh,
Eric,
Still
what did
seeing
we
her.
teach you from the last?
Eric learned nothing.
Hey, I think it could work. I think it could work.
We're gonna dive into this later. We'll continue the story, but we're
Well, what I
about
was gonna say is, she likes it when someone goes to pick her up and like drives her, right? And with me, she just gave up. She's like, actually, we can Uber. She's like, I appreciate the romantic gesture, but I also like not being in fear of my life.
What is it about your driving that makes you a bad driver?
You know, thank you for asking me. Everyone's just like, oh, he's just at everything.
He's Asian.
No, it's because I get really confused when there's like, I'm on the road and there's an exit and the GPS is like, you got to make a right in 300 feet. And I'm like, this right or like that
Oh,
right?
no, I learned 300 feet
Yeah?
means the next turn.
See, I don't know what that means.
Point 1 is 1 block. So when
None
it's
of that makes sense to me.
Distance perception is not your thing.
Yes, exactly. And I would argue in daily life, like I don't need to know what like 300 feet is or
Yeah.
like 0.1 miles.
Except when you're trying to get the exit off the highway.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so what ends up happening, I'm like all the way on one side of the road, and I just yeet all the way over 4 lanes because see, I want to go fast, right? Gotta go fast, boys. So I'm in the leftmost lane, because I want to be efficient.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God, the exit's like, oh, I'm like directly like in line with it. It's like, if I could take my car and just like hop like that would be perfect.
Dude, I realized you're like a cartoon character.
Oh, bro,
yeah. You
I'm
only
like,
eat Chipotle, wears
Oh,
flip flops and tank tops. Like,
dude, I've had people be like, yo, Eric, like, why are you like a cartoon?
Yeah, you really remind me of one.
They're like, the way you talk, like, you're just animated. And like,
Very true.
the way you move and the way you gesture at things. I'm like, yo, I'm a human being over here. I got feelings.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Being animated in the way you speak.
See,
think
I
it's
feel
good.
like the way you talk, for example, he's like, always looks chill and relaxed. You know what I mean?
Thank
like,
you.
got that vibe.
you have
You're like, no, you're like, absolutely
so
not.
chill.
He brings out the worst of me. That's all.
Oh my. So
No, I'm
chill.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
We'll get to the heartful questions later.
Have you guys played this one before?
No.
What is that?
So it's called We're Not Really Strangers.
What?
I know the game. I know the game.
Are we about to start crying?
You can't make a laugh like that without context.
Basically, we've talked about it, I'm pretty sure.
No.
It's just like it asks really deep, very like thought-provoking questions about yourself.
So are we about to cry?
I usually
Or
cry
fall in
over
love.
these things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or
So
this is Eric's Riz right here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, this is intimate. This is my thing.
He said, "Why don't we just add candles? Let's turn the light down."
Hey, okay, you don't know, but I wanted to turn off every single one of these lights, just have it purely romantic. But then you guys are like, wait, they can't see anything.
Yeah.
This is just an ASMR podcast.
Yeah.
The video is just complete darkness.
What if we whispered
Very quietly.
Do they have those where they just whisper the whole time?
Ooh, new genre. ASMR podcast.
Yeah.
I bet.
And when you laugh, you're like, ha ha ha.
I bet you someone on TikTok will do it, and it would be really good. But
Oh,
if
they
TikTok
watch this?
podcast.
imagine though, if it's like 4 hours long, so people can fall asleep to it.
You're on to something, Jerry.
That would make hella
Honestly,
AdSense money.
I think it would crack if people were talking about really things like, and also if you laugh, and it's like,
Are we sure that this is picking up our whispering? Because I feel like that was so quiet. I could barely hear you in real
I
life.
think it definitely is picking.
Wait, Jeremy, go as deep as you possibly can. That's not, bro. That's a cartoon character right there.
That's like gravelly deep. That's like fake deep.
Bro, not all of us blessed with baritones like you, man.
You go as deep as you can.
Yeah, you go.
Hey, how you doing,
Oh,
Shorty?
fuck you. That's so deep.
Take a left.
Hey, what's your name? Hey, why do we change our voice?
You know, studies have shown women are attracted to men with deep voices.
Yeah, I believe that.
That's why he gets all the women.
Yeah, that's his thing. You got a deep voice too, Jerry.
My voice isn't that deep.
If I tried, hey, what's up?
See, that was good.
But it's like when you do the deep voice, you change your personality
Hey,
too. I don't know
Hey,
why.
my name.
You like change the way you speak.
All right, my name is Jeremy. Yeah, let's play this game.
It's
Nah,
even
man,
weirder
this
now.
is code switching. Have you heard of that?
No, what's that?
So, for example, when you ever talk with your parents, do you find yourself talking a little bit differently? Like when I talk with my mom, I find myself dropping articles, right?
what do
Or
you mean?
I have like South Asian friends, when they talk with their parents, they'll have like a little bit more of an Indian accent. It's like not even intentional because they're just used to talking that way.
That's very true. Because if I was to ever talk to a Korean person, even if I was speaking to them in English, sometimes I just put on the accent on certain words just to because I feel like they would understand better if I said it in the way they would say the word.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit of an intonation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it just, you put on the deep voice, you're just doing a different persona. It's still you.
So your deep voice is like some dude from Brooklyn.
Yeah, sweetheart.
How you
It's
doing,
just-
sweetheart?
How you doing,
origins.
sweetheart?
How
Hey,
you doing?
see now my voice is warmed up. I can go real deep.
Honestly, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm curious about this game now. So this is this what we're doing today?
Yeah, so the New York Times wrote a study about it. It's called 36 Questions to Fall in Love. They took randomly selected pairs of people, put them through questions all about vulnerability. So, hey, I share something. And reciprocity. God, I hope you share something back. They found at the end of the study, many of these pairs of individuals became good friends with each other. One pair ended up dating and getting married.
Oh,
Wow, how many people were in the study?
I'm not sure. I think it was around like 30 to 40.
Maybe we might be the first people ever to play this game and get married in a three-way.
ooh.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the goal here.
that's the goal.
Yeah.
Let's see if we want to marry each other. At
Hey,
the
I'm
end.
really excited and grateful this was an exclusionary. You weren't like you two or like us two. You're like all three.
Oh no way. Yeah.
Yeah, the first Thruple podcast.
We're very
marriage.
into
Yes.
thruples.
I love it.
Well, actually, it'll probably surface when we start flipping these cards.
Wait, he said we're into thruples. And
No,
he
no,
said,
no, no.
Wait,
Yeah,
but
wait.
actually.
Let's,
and
yeah,
you're
let's
like, you're like, wait.
let's establish that those two statements were unrelated to the audience.
Well, no, I think that you're headed in the opposite direction.
oh
actually,
yeah, I agree with that.
Which
So-
I think we'll dive into.
Yeah,
I like that.
We'll see what comes up.
The way it starts, it's through intimate and intense eye contact. By the way, I'm surprised.
My eyes are like,
There's two of them. What do I do? Well, I was gonna say, I'm surprised you've never actually played this before. With the girl that I'm seeing, we actually played it on one of our first early dates. I truly believe it's a great way to get to know
Really?
someone early.
You think it was a good thing to do it early?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very
see what the
intimate.
questions are
You
like.
said first date.
Yeah, well, like first or second date.
Okay.
Because you get to quickly select for someone who's willing and able to be emotionally open. Because think you've run into someone and they're just like, hell no. And they're like,
Yeah. That's what I would say, but that actually plays into some realizations I had about myself recently. So that makes a lot of sense.
Well, please dive in, sir.
Yeah, what are these realizations?
So no, I came to terms with the fact, or like not came to terms with. I think I discovered why I was so unable to emotionally connect with anyone, which funnily enough, if you had asked me to play this game maybe 2 months ago, I would have been like, nah, no way. Like if a girl that I was talking to asked me to play this game, I would have told her no because it's way too emotionally vulnerable from what I understand about.
You would
the
have
game.
said no.
Yeah, I would have been like, I'm not down for that. Let's just go do something casual. Let's go to a bar. But yeah. So I was
on brand.
It makes sense that you said
What
that.
changed?
I don't know if I can say this on this platform. Yeah,
Well, I mean,
took some-
your editor could cut this.
Yeah, we can cut
Dude,
it
oh,
out.
they cut. Okay, so
Yeah.
I did an ayahuasca journey. He took me to my first one.
Oh, that's totally fine to talk about.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So we did an ayahuasca journey about a month ago. Went into it. It was for me, it was very intense and scary, but it was like exactly what I needed, and I feel like my life has gone 180 degrees. Yeah, since
So I'm seeing the new you.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I met you before even the journey, right?
literally right before. Yep, and then now it's after.
Bro, he sees the peace and calm in you.
That's the intense, chill vibes I'm picking.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like that's I've been blessed with that now.
What about Jeremy? Do you feel, say you're on a date and a girl brings it out and says, "Hey, I'd like to go through this with you." What's your reaction?
Oh yeah, I'm a soft puddle.
Oh, yeah.
I will be
Just-
like, let's
you're,
play.
You're just dripping. You're
Yeah,
like, all right, I'm ready.
dripping for the game. No, I mean, I'd be down. I'm very inquisitive in general. Like I like to ask a lot of questions. I was also super like when we were at that pasta place and you're telling me about you're also like that too. You like the psychology of like how people tick. I'm the same way. So I would play the
Let's
game.
get ready to dive deep. So we're gonna start with iconic because there's three of us and we can't direct our eyes in
So
two
how
different
long?
directions.
How long do you stare?
So we're
Yeah.
gonna start like this, right? So first, you two have known each other. You're gonna make some intense eye contact until one person blinks or looks away,
Okay.
and
With
then
him?
whoever it
Oh,
might be,
man.
and then I'll make eye contact with that person, and then
Okay.
whoever blinks and looks away for that one, they're gonna draw the first card on level one. So they get progressively deeper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is 3 the most deep?
Three
And
is the deepest. So
Okay.
level one, it's very surface level. Level two is a little deeper, and level three gets to the real.
Nice. I'm excited for level 3.
I'm scared.
Let's do
I'm,
it.
I'm excited to finally play this game because I keep hearing about it. And have
Oh,
never.
I've just seen the TikTok. Their TikTok crushes. All
Yeah.
they do is like those simple quotes, like "Don't text them back."
Yeah.
So that's why I'm kind of like, how deep can it go? But I'm excited. If you loved it, then I trust you because
Yeah.
Harvard graduate approved.
Damn. Okay. I don't know if Harvard graduates know anything about love, intimacy, and relationships.
Well, that guy who built that app, How You Met Your First Girlfriend.
That's true. That's
I was
true.
like, that's
the
some Harvard.
dating algorithm.
Yeah. So if you approved this card algorithm, then I'm excited.
All right. Let's get to it. I'm
Okay,
gonna count
okay.
3, 2, 1. I want some intense eye contact here. All right. 3.
me laugh.
I didn't do anything.
okay.
It's just my face.
Okay, sorry.
Ouch.
Yeah. Why are you laughing at my face?
Okay, ready?
3, 2,
Sorry.
1. You motherfuckers can't even keep a straight face.
It's so hard.
You're literally.
Wait, did I blink?
You're blinking.
All right. Well, also, my eyes, I'm wearing contact lenses, so they get dry quickly.
All right, so try again.
Yeah, one. Ready?
All right.
Yeah.
Countdown again.
3, 2, 1.
He blinked.
No, I did it.
Eric, you were looking away.
I was looking away, so we're gonna keep going.
but also the lights are shining directly into my eyes, so I'm at a disadvantage.
Dude, my eyes are watering. All right, ready, Eric?
I'm looking directly into these lights.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm just making sure this is got. Oh, this is got. There we go. All right, this time it's me and you.
Me?
Yeah, because you lost.
Oh.
Jeremy, you might just be champion. All right. 3. Oh no, I'm supposed to play you because
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, ready?
3, 2, 1, go.
And we're off to the races. Jeremy's off to a good start. I see some tears in his eyes. Nice dampness. But Eric is extremely far.
I blinked.
Second I
He
talk.
had to do 2 in a row, so that's pretty hard.
your eyes are.
Yeah.
I'm already emotional.
Bro looks like he's crying.
working. My eyes get so dry.
Also, we
Joe.
have like literal candle flames next to us. We're like, come open, boys.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna pull the first.
Wait, I thought you two now got to do it and lose then the third. You know?
No, I think I'm
First,
just a
second?
loser.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know why we did. Wootak's just a loser.
Yeah.
All right, so I get to pick from one, right?
Level 1.
Okay. Wild card. Make an assumption about me. Both players.
Yo, that's hilarious.
All right, let's say first impression. You just run into him the first time you ever
Yeah.
met. What's something you assumed about him? And then whether it was right or wrong.
Should it be like the first time he met me, like actually, or first if he met me for the first time
actually.
now?
Well, no, because that's kind of tough because I'd had so many Zoom conversations. Like the first time I saw you was like a Zoom in your room.
that's what I
saw
mean
you in a
is that,
very
like,
vulnerable state.
Wait,
wasn't-
what's this about a vulnerable
No,
state?
I mean it was just like his bedroom in
Yeah.
his Zoom, and he's like he's not he wasn't dripped out in his jewelry, just big old glasses, hair tied back, and I was
Okay,
just
when
like,
you said he wasn't dressed, I was like, was this man nude? What type of Zoom
I come on a Zoom call just shirtless for the first time ever.
no, but you know what I mean. It was just like in his most just chilling
In his
So I was
regular
like-
state,
So I
yeah.
just like he just looks like a big
yeah,
Asian
why
nerd.
not? Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
A
there we go, there we
nerd.
go.
Yeah,
he thought
nerd.
you were a big Asian nerd.
Yeah, that's what- I'm learning things. I'm learning
not
things.
a nerd because I already had seen his TikToks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So okay, maybe the first impression of my even watching his
Yeah, sure.
videos.
Why don't we do first impression TikTok and first impression when you're in he's nude in his room? And
I
you're
thought
looking
I
at
thought
him?
he was funny, and I thought he was funny, and I was like.
I like that one.
I was like, either he gets a lot of girls or he gets no girls. I wasn't sure.
Why no girls?
Why is it
Because
one or the other? Yeah.
Yeah, no, because it was just like the way he would like crack jokes and whatnot. Yeah.
It's like either he's very secure or he has nothing.
yeah.
Okay, but then you're on a Zoom call where you're like, he's in a vulnerable state in his bedroom. I'm like,
I
yo,
used the
what-
wrong
what
words.
is- what is this?
This is trying to turn into that dog conversation from last
yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
Oh, no.
That
I'm
was
trying
my
to get
favorite
cornered.
moment, by
It's
the
pretty
way.
I'm trying to
great.
get cornered now. No, but I mean, like, he was just like casual, but we started. This is first impression.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then, I mean, we
You-
started
you jump
talking
on the Zoom call with him.
Okay, so I'm allowed to judge him now about
Yeah,
our
you can
conversation.
judge him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, this guy's smart. Like he's
Wow.
yeah.
That's
I was like,
pretty
he's
fast
taking a
from
lot of
first
he's taking a
impression.
lot of risks. Well, because he was talking about how he dropped out of college, built his own business, how he started TikTok, and how he really had nothing to his name. And then in the pandemic, how many videos he was making, how he was just listening to Gary Vee. I was like, okay, kind of similar to me, where he'll like find something that speaks to him and then just go take the risk to go do it. So I was like, oh, this guy's smart. He's a hustler.
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love you felt the need to add in the color that he just looked normal with his glasses and his hair back. You're like, yeah, don't
I mean, come
expose
on.
him, man.
No, I mean, like, look at
Just
him now,
have
right?
to take me down a notch.
No,
Yeah.
no, not taking you down. Like, look at him now. You know, it's like, yo, this guy has fashion. But then he was just like, I mean, now I got to go get a picture of you. like,
God.
you know
Oh,
what I'm
God.
talking about.
So harsh.
Yeah, I don't
Not
know
harsh.
why you have to bully me like that. I thought I looked good that day. I put on my best Sunday
tried
suit.
hard.
Yeah, I was looking as good as I could. And
I'm not saying you look
and then,
bad.
And then he brings it up later. He's like, yeah, he was looking like a gremlin, you know,
Yeah.
clearly not trying. And I'm just like,
I love he's like, yo, I don't know if I can count that as his first impression because he just looks so vulnerable.
dude. And before the meeting, I was like, God, do I look good, Joe? Like, I went to my best friend.
No,
I'm like,
that's a
yo,
lie.
I put on my best shirt. Like,
That's a lie.
Man, Jeremy cuts where
Man,
it hurts.
I'm
man.
really bad at these questions. I
real.
overanalyze them.
All right, well, okay, now I got to ask you.
yes.
Give me you for
No,
him.
you him.
Wait,
him.
no,
We'll
no,
stay
but
on
we
him.
literally just
no,
talked
no,
about.
no, you him.
Okay, me
Yeah,
and
stay
you.
on him. Stay on him.
So the first
just know
time-
that my confidence is low right now from this man. So I just want to throw that out
we
there.
kick him when he's down, Jeremy. Thrust it in, knife twist. So the first time I ever heard of you, because I was getting dinner with this dude, and he was telling me what you love about doing Nectar, right? For you, it's not just a drink, right? There's a whole culture, there's a whole ethos you're trying to do with it. You really love the content you get to make around it. And I was asking like, oh, that's really cool. Like how you do it. And he's like, yo, it really took off when he found a couple partners, right? You and Vit. And I was like, oh, okay, like tell me more. So he described you, but it's always like different to like hear about someone than you meet them. So when you came over for Thanksgiving, I was like, oh damn, like, like I've heard about this guy described as super business savvy, really good at the podcast. You mentioned, I distinctly recall the podcast episode was just you guys just talking and hanging out. Has actually done better than many of the ones with huge creators and guests because of the rapport and the level of your conversation. And you come in, and I had the opposite reaction to him. You know, you're like, oh, he lives in his bedroom. He's like a giant nerd. I was like, yo, this guy's got drip. I'm like, this guy is fashionable. I'm like, yo, he's coming over here for Thanksgiving. I was like, damn, like, I hope like the other people who come here aren't lame and it's like a good experience, right? And later on in the night, you know, we got to talk a little bit. And I remember when we went around, right? And the prompt we had was, hey, like, what's your name? And like, what's your thing? What's your fetish, right? And you said for you, it's like love and emotional support. And I was like, oh, I like this guy, right? Because he comes in, he's smart, he looks so cool, but he's got this emotional soft core. And then we play Mario Kart together. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you was watching us at Mario Kart too.
Yeah, 100%.
He said, yeah, 100%.
It was like there was no chance for you. I had fun. I had fun that day.
Well, now I got to know, okay, we just heard the experience, like you getting to know him. What was your impression of Jeremy?
Whoa, I didn't pull the card.
Well, no, we don't have to
I'm just kidding.
strictly- You're trying to avoid
The
that.
both players is assuming it's two players.
Yeah, we can just,
all
we
gonna
can just
answer.
go through it. So like you have him on the Zoom call.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what did he look like?
So I had not heard about Jeremy prior because none of the Nectar content had come out yet. So it was a mutual friend that connected us. So I get on the call, and first thought was like, oh wow, this guy's young. Like, because founder of a company, especially an alcohol company, and being in alcohol, I'm like, I know how difficult that is, and every other alcohol company founder is like usually older. They've been in the game a while. So I was like, wow, he's young. Also, I didn't know how old he was. He looks way younger than he really is too. And
How old do you think he was?
How did you think I was?
bro, I thought you were like my age, oldest. And I was like, is this guy younger than me? I was like, there's no way though. And then, but then I learned how old he was. Also, he had like a buzz cut back then. And he was telling me he's from the Bay Area. So I was like, as soon as he said Bay Area and I'm looking at this Asian dude, ear piercings, buzz cut, I was like, this is the most typical Bay Area Asian.
Kevin.
Yeah, he probably knows how to Dougie, like all of
I
those.
do not.
But then as I got talking to him, I was like, oh wow, super smart, very charismatic, super personable. Like I started liking him right away. And yeah, those are my first two actual parts of his personality.
Yo,
got
I
to know.
second that, bro. You got charisma, man.
He does. He's got riz.
You
I feel like all three of us have charisma. Or we
I
wouldn't be
can
sitting
agree.
at
I
this
agree.
table.
We try our best. We
Yeah.
try our best. But yeah,
all,
dude.
all different fonts of charisma.
That's good. Fonts and flavors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But-
all different flavors.
Well,
of
you know what
charisma.
I really love about you? Like, it goes without saying, obviously, you're smart, you're good looking, you're charismatic. Easy. Like, that's just the low hanging fruit. But what I really appreciated, so we met at the fan house party, right? Where there's like a lot of stuff going on that night.
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
like people, everyone's like running around. You know, it's a party.
He was having an orgy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We don't talk about that, Jeremy. So what I really appreciated was you followed up, right? Because I met you and we talked for like a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, in my head, I remember thinking like, Jeremy's like really cool. Like, I'd love to get to know him better. And when you were heading out, you're like, hey man, like we should connect. I was like, in my head, I was like, yeah, I'd be super down to it. And I was like, make a mental note, remember to follow up with Jeremy. Because I'm used to always being the one who remembers to follow up, right? I've built a lot of my relationships from just, you meet people for a moment, you get a good sense, you got to remember I need to follow up. And what I loved was before I even had the chance to, you sent me a text. I was like, oh, shit.
I mean, I was like, I knew what Karat was because I watched YouTube. So then when I found out that you were the founder, I was like,
thanks,
whoa,
man.
like this guy's up to something. So
Yeah, I mean, I heard of Nectar as well. That's why I was like, yo,
Yeah.
this is so f***ing cool. And then we got dinner, jammed a bit, got to know each other. It was really fun.
yeah,
That's what I love about LA. Like you meet people and you're like, whoa, you're the guy that does that.
Yeah.
And then you get to know the person behind it. And it's very cool.
Has there ever been somebody you met who ended up being super different from their content, their on-camera persona?
Yes.
Yeah, how so?
100%. But I'm trying to remember who. Everett Noble, actually. I think he's like one of the most creative, funniest people on TikTok, and he's way shyer in real life than I realized. Yeah, not in a bad way. I realized that like, okay, like he has that like artist, like kind of introverted, like kind of vibe to him. Yeah.
And then he turns it on when he gets
Yeah,
off
yeah.
film.
And then I kind of got to know him a little better. So now he's way more like, oh, this is the Everett I expected, but I didn't expect him to be so shy at first. Yeah.
I got that. I've also noticed there are some people like Melissa Ong is really on camera and off camera very similar.
Exactly the same. Yep. 100%.
Just naturally.
Energy
she's
levels.
funny and hype.
1,000.
It's so shocking that she's exactly the same though, because it's like, oh, this has to be a bit of it. When you see it without knowing her, you assume that it has to be a bit of a play up or an act. But then you get to know her and you're like, geez, if anything, you're playing it down.
Exactly. She's actually super genuine. That's exactly who she is.
No, but she also lives that life. Like
Yes.
she rages hard. I'm like, how is your heart still beating?
She goes hard and then sometimes she goes chill. She alternates.
Yeah.
But generally, who you see is who you get.
Her chill is still hard.
Yeah, for sure.
For me at least.
The one other person I remember who I remember thinking, oh, this is actually really like their on camera persona. So Graham Stephan. His whole channel is about being financially responsible. I've gone dinner with him a few times in Vegas, and every time we go to this tiny little sushi dinner, it's like called like Super Sushi 8. You get like all you can eat for like $20.
Oh, so he's
man.
the same.
He's frugal.
Yeah, it's like actually.
Oh, I thought he was
like,
about to say he'd be throwing it.
Oh
behind the scenes, like-
only the finest. No, it's like legitimately like one step above gas station sushi.
Oh man.
Why does
like-
he punish himself like that?
Because that's the way he is. He's
Wow.
so focused and so disciplined. Like this isn't a camera act. Like I've
Yeah.
gone to dinner with him multiple times and we actually go back to the same place. The people there, they know him. Because for him, that hits that balance of like, this is value. And I was like, wow.
Wow. Well, I guess for him, it's purely, you said like this is value. So does he ever go to nice places because it is still worth that value? Or
I'm sure he does, but for what it's worth, every time I've gone to dinner with him, like we just go back there. It's like a thing. He has his table. The people know him.
I'm pretty sure I just watched a video of him, the like millennial money or something,
Yeah.
something like that. And it was like talking about how much he makes a year. It's like 6 mil. And that was like
And
years ago.
Oh, he's talked about his net worth. It's like in the double-digit millions.
Yeah, like,
and the guy just
Jesus.
eats sushi.
I mean, for me, power to him for that discipline. You can respect anybody that's that disciplined, but to me, life is way too short.
Yeah,
to
different
be-
philosophies.
Yeah. Like you got to enjoy food. I guess maybe he's got like dull taste, but like maybe his taste buds aren't as.
Does
like,
he have any things he likes to indulge in? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I think Graham's got like nice cars, nice watches.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
But at least for the food part, that's something he's just very, very
It's like almost opposite for me. Actually, no, I like cars, but like food is like number one indulgence,
Number
I think.
one.
Yeah.
If you could spend your money, like you had endless amounts of money, what's the first things you're spending it on?
personal trainer, personal masseuse, personal chef. When I'm done with my day, I want someone to walk me through getting the best shape I can, feed me,
Yes.
prepare, massage my body. That's ideal.
Wow.
I mean, honestly, now I'm taking your answer. It was gonna be just chef, and then he just added two
you got
perfect
$10 million.
parts.
Why do I want to
Literally.
spread the love?
Yep.
Nah, I would also, for me, it's I just like comfortable travel.
Oh yes.
Like first class.
So my co-founder, he has earned his mile. He flies way more than me because sales, he has to fly around. So he's earned executive platinum on American. And so we buy regular, when I fly with him and he buys a regular ticket, we both get bumped up to first class.
Oh, that's dope.
So I've experienced first class multiple times and it makes traveling, like airplanes are annoying. Going to the airport is just a headache, but first class changes everything. You got to go to the lounge. You got to be first on the plane. Supposedly your luggage comes out faster. I feel like it does.
Real quick though.
Yeah.
Let's say all three of us were flying. Would I also get bumped up, or is
Yes.
it just
With America, he gets up to
so
4
cool.
other people as long as there's space.
So
and
on the way to Tahoe, I'm one of those, right? Or who-
depends on
who-
your behavior.
Okay, well, just know
Yes.
I've been a good boy.
Yeah,
recently.
nah, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, what's so funny, I heard a study what fuels airplane customer rage more than anything else. It's when you board a plane, you have to walk past your smug little faces sitting in first class. It turns out, like they've done surveys, that infuriates more than anything because you're just faced with the economic reality. There are people with more than you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's painful.
It's so evilly genius of them to set it up that way.
I don't look at the people.
You're like faceless. You're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like Don't look at me. I'm just a member of the bourgeois.
Yep. I'm like,
Please continue walking. I don't want to acknowledge you.
I'm like, I promise you, if we showed each other's bank accounts, you have more money than me. I'm just with him.
But you're like, guys, it's fine. I've just finessed my way. Like, please don't hate me.
Exactly. So
Everyone has the opportunity to ride first class at least once, I think. Either like a chance, like, you know, those like airplane hackers that are like, oh, just ask if like, and they give you all these like tips. If you actually do them enough times, I feel like you would have a chance.
it's not, if you fly decently, fly one airline. It's better to earn
build
those
it
points
up.
and earn status.
100%.
Because even I have gold on American, which isn't even close. There's like 4 other levels in front of me. But I'm still get aboard before everyone else in the back of the plane. And which always, then I never have to worry about getting you know what's the worst on planes actually? Here's your seat right there, right in the front of the plane. And everything is filled. So you got to go put your luggage in the back slot.
Oh, that's the
So then when the
worst.
plane is deboarding, you're just like,
You're stuck
can
trying
I
to get
somehow,
back.
Or
Shit.
that's
You know what I did once to avoid that? When I was in economy, had to put my luggage like 6 rows back because there was no space. And then, and I've gone through this many times where I'm just like stuck waiting for my luggage. So then I was like, right as the plane was landing, I got up and I ran to the bathroom, which was at the back of the plane. And I
they didn't yell at you?
no, and I just
The
sat
man had
in
to
the
pee.
bathroom for like hella long. But here's the thing. For some reason, this was the one time that like the plane got stuck on the tarmac for like 30 minutes. So I was sitting in that bathroom for I think 45 minutes just waiting
Dude,
because
they
I'm like,
thought you were probably birthing a
yeah,
baby in there.
literally, no one questioned it either though.
Dude, that-
so yeah.
That's crazy because one time I tried to stand up and like get to that spot and they're like, sit down. So I had to
It depends on the flight attendants.
Yeah.
Some of them are really
Or maybe it's
strict.
because it was him.
That's another, you didn't think about
True.
that.
Like,
I-
we let the Sigma males go to the bathroom when the plane's landing.
I was like, please, miss, may I get my
He
luggage
he
in the
raises
back?"
his hand.
Yeah.
He's like, I know I'm not
excuse me?
supposed to get up.
Yeah.
But
can I go to the bathroom? All right, let's do another question. I think we're ready for level 2.
yeah, let's do a level 2.
I'm already in love. I don't know about you guys.
Jeremy, you want to do the honors?
Okay, I just grab anyone.
Yeah, any card. Usually if they're wild cards, we don't always do them, but just pull it out and go for it.
Level 2, connection. It's a wild card.
What's the wild card?
Create a secret handshake.
Okay, we're not gonna do that. We'll do a different one.
Yeah. What are
these
The
white
wild
cards?
cards are usually a little bit more wild.
It's level 2.
All right.
If you could get to know someone in your level, sorry, can't read today. If you can get to know someone in your life on a deeper level, who would it be and why?
Ooh.
Eric, I'm gonna ask you to answer the question first.
These are thought provoking. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm like, who would I actually want to get to know better? I'm gonna say my brother, and this is a weird answer because my brother lives in LA. I have not met him once for the entirety of the 2 years I've been here, except at a Karat event, which he came as a +1.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa.
Wait,
Yeah.
did you and your brother grow up close or no?
Well, so he's about 5 years younger than I am.
Okay.
And I always had the burden of expectations from my parents. I had to go learn piano, go do math camp, go attend Harvard, go work in investment banking. And I think they saw how stressed I was. And eventually I just stopped listening to them altogether. So I think with my brother, they did 2 things. One was good, one was not good. The good thing was they were a lot more relaxed and chill with him. So for example, he got to learn the drums. He didn't have to stick with piano. It got to be cool. I was like, well,
I gotta
wanna
play
learn
the drums too.
You got to learn the drums?
Yeah, I gotta play the drums. I'm the youngest.
Do it. Yeah, see, the youngest Asian kid still has to play an instrument, but it gets to be
They
the
get to
drums.
be different ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and so like he would play basketball and had friends in high school. So that was like the good thing, which I'm grateful he got to have a little bit more of a relaxed experience. But the bad thing, they also had lower expectations for him. And in an Asian household, that often correlates with attention and perceived love you get from your parents. They just were like, well, Eric's going to be the one who goes into Harvard, so Patrick, you can go do what you want. Like, we don't care. And I think that's like harmful in a way too. When your
I
parents
actually
don't
agree with
care.
that.
My oldest sister definitely has like resentment and was
Yeah.
definitely like all the pressure was thrown on her. She went to Berkeley. She went to Harvard. My parents were super strict on her in a lot of ways. And then by my second sister, and then by the time it was me, I was a vagabond. They were still very, very strict and in other ways. But, you know, she's always like, they were 10 times stricter with me. And I'm like, what do you want me to do?
Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. Like, I played the drums.
Yeah.
I'm running an alcohol company now.
So, I mean, do you have resentment towards your brother?
I don't resent him. It's more like, well, what's so funny, I caught up with him like a year ago. And I was talking through, like, I don't visit my parents much. I'm like, hey, look, I know they love me. I love them. But I just had a lot of resentment toward them. That's hard to work through. I don't think it goes well if I'm just at home and fight with my dad. And my brother, he's so wise. He's so emotionally healthy and enlightened. He's like, they were our parents. They tried the best we could. They're family. It's not perfect, but it's going to be okay. And I was just like, what? Like, he's so emotionally balanced. Like, and I'm like, cool. Like, what's the goal? What's your dream in life? Right. And he's like, I just want to live a good life. I want to find a job. I'm going to go work at it. And I'm going to go home. I'm going to do things I like. And I'm not going to stress too much about it. I'm like, wow, that's so different from me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to like feel fulfilled and be going hard and building something, big dreams, big ambitions. And it's the intensity of life that I really look for. I think I get bored if I was just at a place just working at a company, and like that's what he does, right? But he's found a way to be happy and just have this like balanced life. And I was just like, wow, he's like in many ways more emotionally mature than I am. And I admired it, and I was just like, whoa, he's like a real human being person. And we've gotten closer. Now funnily enough, I've called him more for advice than he's called me these past few years.
So you call him regularly, you just don't hang out with him regularly.
I call him when I'm having a problem in my life. Like, oh man, I'm going through a breakup. Like, Patrick, like, what do you think? And he's like, hey man, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. I'm like, so wise.
Have you heard? Wait, was it you that said that you have a friend that put the answer, put the text into ChatGPT and just sent?
No.
So you want to tell it? Yeah.
My friend, he had a friend that had basically close with that person back in the day, but hadn't really spoken to them in a while. And they just kind of recently connected, and the person was texting him just paragraphs of something that they were going through. And my friend was like, I just didn't have the time to respond or like think of anything. So they copied the entire response, put it into ChatGPT, said, please give me like the best response to this text. Gave him a response, shorten it to a paragraph, shorten it to 3 sentences. He said it was perfect, sent it, and the person was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I needed to hear or whatever it was. God. And he was just like, it works.
That's so scary, Loki.
Yeah.
It reminds me, so BJ Novak from The Office?
Yes.
So he's also a writer. If you remember him, he's the guy with the glasses who was like dating Mindy Kaling's character. So he Ryan, exactly.
Yes.
Ryan was the name of his character. So he's an author. He wrote a series of short stories, and one of them he writes about this female character called the most thoughtful, empathetic woman in the world. And the framing is you go and you talk to her, and you come out feeling like $1 million, like she finally understands you. And he writes one short story about people talking about how amazing she is, how good she is. Then he writes another short story from her perspective, where she's just like, all she does, she just does the same 2 things. Someone comes in, they pour out their heart to her. She just looks at them. She says, what does your heart say? And if that doesn't work, they talk more. They're like, oh, I don't know. She just looks at him again. She tilts her head and she goes, what does your gut say? And that's all she does.
Moves around the body parts.
Yeah, exactly. And that reminds me, ChatGPT, I guess sometimes people just want to feel heard.
Yeah.
I agree.
Huh. Wait, does your brother reach out to you to hang out? And do you just ghost him?
He's a couple of times he's like, hey, can I come to this Karat event? I was like, ooh, I don't know. It's like pretty tight in my list.
Yeah.
There have been a couple of times I've been like, yo, do you want to play Super Smash Brothers Melee? He has as well, which has never made it happen. So this is a weird answer. It's within my power. I just haven't, we just haven't done it.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, I'm a big believer at the end of the day, we make all our own choices. We hold responsibility. Clearly, I just haven't prioritized it enough, right? I can talk about wanting to do it as much as I want, but if I haven't done it, it means I just haven't prioritized that. And I'm caring about maybe more urgent, but less important things in my life right now. It's like, hey, maybe this is a point to reflect, to reconsider.
That's good accountability. And I like what you said, more urgent, but less important. Like sometimes certain things are more pressing, even though long-term it's less important.
Did you guys hear of that one study basically where they're like, if you calculate, maybe it's not even a study, but they're like, if you calculate the time that your parents have left on this earth and the time that you actually see them every year or whatever it is, it's like, it's a tiny, tiny, tiny amount.
Yep.
It did,
Yeah. So that mortality thing kind of like, I'm always like, whoa.
Yeah, that I don't know if it was from that study or like just this quote I heard. It was just like, how old are your parents? And the dude was like 76 or like 80 something, right? And he was like, how many more years do you think they have? And he's like, probably like 4 years, honestly. And he's like, okay. And then he's like, so I have 4 years left with my parents. He's like, no. He's like, how often do you see your parents a year? He's like, at Christmas only. And he's like, no. So you have 4 more times that you see your parents, not 4 years. Yeah. So it's like very scary and tragic, but.
How often, well,
Yeah, how often do you see your parents? Yeah.
or talk to them?
I call my mom pretty often, at least once a week. And then I try to see her as much as I can. Like I go back, I go back to New York for work, and it just so happens I have a lot of reasons to go back to New York always. So that's good.
Dude, that is wholesome.
Yeah,
Very
I'm
wholesome.
a big mama's boy. Yeah.
That's cute, man. Good
Thanks,
for
man.
you. what about you, Jeremy?
We're in like a family group text, and then obviously I text them individually, like I'd say like once every other week.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to be better at like FaceTiming them.
Yeah.
And that's generally like once every 3 weeks or something.
Do you
But-
feel like with your sister, the one who you mentioned, the oldest, who went through a lot of stress, do you feel like, are you guys close or?
Well, me and her beefed a lot when I was younger.
Yeah.
And like, obviously I'm older and I have no resentment towards that, but it's similar to you where I'm just busy with life. What did you say? It was urgent over?
I keep focusing time on urgent things that might not be as important.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel. And maybe this is like bad thinking too, but like I'm the first one in my family that has potentially the ability to make enough money where I can maybe retire them.
Generational wealth.
Generational wealth potentially. And so for me, I'm like, everyone will thank me when I can make their life easier. So
I feel like, so one, I totally empathize with that and I get it. But two, I feel like a modern day Aesop would write a fable about how you put this all on yourself to earn enough money for your family, but you weren't as close with them in the pursuit of that. And then at the end, they just wanted to be spending time with you instead of the money all along. I feel like there's some probably modern Aesop's fable there, but like I identify with that too, yeah.
100%.
there's like the divorced dad theory, which is exactly that, right?
I've
like
never
the,
heard that, yeah.
Sorry, not the divorced dad. Well, the distant dad. And it's the similar thing where it's like, you know, he works all the time, puts his kids in private school, buys them whatever they want, but all they want is for him to show up to the soccer game. So, yeah.
I remember sitting, oh, go ahead, you're about to say something.
I think I've struggled with that too, because I think I'm in the same boat where I feel like I've been given a chance to create generational wealth for my family. And for me, it's like, no matter what I have to sacrifice, I will create this for my family. And then you see like what, like, especially seeing my mother like over this past holiday break, and just, you know, I had a lot of like kind of like deeper conversation with her. And it was just like I asked her, like, do you regret anything? Like, I regret a lot of things like that I did to you. And she's like, no, it's like funny because like I'll never regret anything because everything I do for you is just out of like such unconditional love. That it was just like all these things, and I'm just like, oh man. So it's like, I think it's a balance of like, I do still want to create. I need to take advantage of this chance to make sure that not only my mom, but my grandkids have the best life possible, right? And then it's like, but you need to balance it. Like, you can't sacrifice 100 to 0.
But that's the thing, right? It's like what I thought of, call your parents every day or every week is like hours and hours, but it could be 3 minutes of just checking in on you. I'm busy, but just wanted to say what's up. And then once I realized it was that, and that's all they want, I was like I could do that. I would schedule any time, any hour of the day for an investor right now that's like interested, because I'm raising money right now. How can I not give my parents 20 minutes once a week? And I was just like, yeah.
Man, both those points hit hard. I think to that, now I'm like, man, I should text my mom for this. Oh God.
Yeah. And it's
Like,
even a text, right? Hey, I'm busy, can't call you, but like just checking in on you. That's all they want. And you know what I thought about too? It was like they literally put us on this earth, and it's kind of wild, because I was thinking the same way when I was thinking of artist management back in the day, where, you know, you would grow these artists' career, and then for whatever reason, we were in a situation where some of the artists left our management company, right? Just up and left. Imagine if Karat just walked away from you.
Yeah.
It's business you built for however many years. It's a strange feeling. So it's like, imagine how your parents feel, where it's like literally your mother gave her nutrients to bring you into this earth, all that financial support. They tried the best they could. And then this creation just like walks away. They're probably like, huh. Not saying that they're perfect either.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think also to what you said you went to your mom and you're like, hey, I'm sorry for things that I've done.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild. You were like even able to have that discussion with her. And
Yeah, it was tough. It was like, so right after the ayahuasca, there was moments in my journey where I was like, I felt like I was genuinely in hell. Like it was like the worst, most intense thoughts. I was scared, crying my eyes out, puking. And in the worst moments of despair, like what my mind immediately went to like protect me was love. And the biggest source of love was my mother, obviously. And so like after that, and there was like moments where I think I've done a lot of healing. Like my mom, I would say like no shade to my brother. He's a great son, obviously.
Yeah.
But like of the two of us, I'm definitely the one that more so worries and cares about like, what my mom's doing and that. So it's not that like I regret the way I treat my mom anymore, but like she has 100% had to sacrifice her entire, like her life had almost no purpose other than raising us. Like down to like we're having dinner and just like she'll just memorize what foods me and my brother prefer. So in a spread dinner, like kind of like sharing area, she just avoids those foods so that we can have more of it. Like down to that level of like selflessness.
Wow.
So I try to like, she's just like a very big role model for me in how to live my life in terms of like selflessness and caring for others. So yeah.
damn, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like it goes to your point, Jeremy. It's like, yeah, they pour all these nutrients and then, yeah, one day, we do walk away, right? We're not living with them anymore. We're going to see them 10, 15 more times. I think for me, I'm not very close to my parents, right? So I'm listening to both your stories. I'm like reflecting, like, why is that, right? So I talk to my dad maybe once every 6 months, and it's usually around taxes. And I talk to my mom maybe once every 3-4 months. And I haven't seen them for probably over 3 years, actually, from before COVID. And on the one hand, I did that because I knew, hey, I needed this for myself, right? To grow and explore. Because before, I always felt that intense obligation to honor what they had done. But especially my dad, he really would take that obligation and translate it into, you need to do specifically X, Y, Z, which I just didn't agree with. Go be an investment banker, right? Go get a job in finance. And so I think I needed that space to be like, hey, I'm not going to do those things. And I think I'm settling in a place where like the best way to honor their obligation and what they've done is to not do exactly what they tell me,
Yeah.
but try and follow the spirit of it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they don't always know what's best. They have the best
Right.
intentions, which is why I think what you're doing is the right path. What you said earlier that you feel resentment towards your parents, do you still feel that's true?
I think to a certain degree, I once had a conversation with my mom, which is why I was like, it's cool. You had that convo with your mom too, where she just like, this is a few years after I graduated from college. So I think it's when your parents, at least my parents, also began to see me like, okay, like he's an adult, right? Albeit like one who doesn't know like how to drive and like probably other like very basic things, can't take care of himself, but like he's an adult, right? And she was like, hey, I'm actually like really sorry for like all the things that I feel like we did wrong, right? And I was like, wow, that's like really powerful. And by like my dad, like I tried to have this discussion with him, like, yo, like I don't think he like cognitively, it wasn't in a malicious way. He like cognitively could not understand like what could he possibly have ever done that like hurt my feelings, right? Like
he needs some ayahuasca.
That's a very Asian
Yeah,
dad
exactly.
thought process, yeah.
But he wasn't being a dick. Like
Yeah,
he
no, it's not
he
malicious.
actually couldn't understand.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a waste of my time.
You know this reminds me, so on Soft White Underbelly, you know that interview channel, Soft White Underbelly?
No, what is it?
They interview just like the craziest characters from like, so Soft White Underbelly is like the people like showing the softest, like most vulnerable sides of people in the most like, kind of crazy situations in humanity.
Crackheads, prostitutes.
prostitutes, pimps, gang members, like crazy,
Yeah.
right? They just had one viral interview with an ex-gang member from like 626 area, very close by. And his thing was he was like, his dad abused him a lot growing up. He became a gang member, been to prison multiple times, right? All this crazy stuff. But he met with his mom's pastor once, like out of chance. And not to get religious, but like it's just like this part was very powerful to me, where some of the advice that his pastor gave to him after he kind of just like shocked him with how much he was able to kind of know about how he really felt inside. He was like, you know, I want you to go apologize to your father. He's like, I know you've done nothing wrong, and I know your father owed you everything as you being his child, and you owed him nothing, and he betrayed you by abusing you and all that. But if you put that aside and you apologize to him, I think you'll be shocked at what happens. So he does that, hasn't seen his dad in like 20 years, goes and apologizes to him when he is 100% in the right. He does not have anything to apologize for. Your father is an abusive, alcoholic piece of shit, honestly, right? But he went and he sat in front of him and he apologized. He's like, I'm sorry, I could never live up to your standards. I'm sorry I ended up like this. I'm sorry I joined a gang. Like, he just started going off. And for the first time in his life, he saw his father cry. First time in his life, his father apologized to him. Wow. And 100% sat there and took full responsibility for every wrongdoing he's ever done. First time ever. All from him making that first gesture of an apology, even though he was the one that was in the right. So it was like, after that, now his dad goes to church with him. Now his dad doesn't beat his mom anymore. His dad stopped drinking, like all this crazy stuff. And I was just like, that's super. And if you really think about it, I thought about this too. I'm like, every angry and like aggressive altercation I've ever had, it probably is because I feel like I'm right? Like, I'm right. I'm being wronged. I hate you, whatever. I'm going to cut you out. I'm going to fight with you or whatever, right? But if I had even just sat there and been like, okay, even though I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry I've made you feel. If I had come with that energy, there's in 100% of the instances, I'm pretty sure that they would have sat there and been like, you know what, you're right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it would have completely changed the cadence of every altercation I've had. And so, yeah, I just feel like it's very different for your situation, of course. But I think a lot of us with Asian fathers could learn a lesson from that, because older Asian men have the way they've had to grow up. Like, they're a product of what they had to go through, you know? And it's made them like this. And honestly, if their sons came to them with that type of mentality, I think it would immediately like shatter their outer shell.
I love that. And I'm actually really excited. Like, yo, we have kids.
Yeah.
What's that generation going to be like?
Yeah. I'm actually worried they'll be too soft, because now we're a little too, you need a little bit of that toxic, like, you know.
So you think you're going to have tiger mom elements in you, huh?
Yeah, I think I
Tiger
will be
dad?
strict.
Wow.
Yeah. If between my parents, my mom was the strict one. My dad was super chill, but he was never around either. And then
You know what I think? I think about LeVar Ball.
Yeah.
You know who LeVar Ball
That's
is?
the reading rainbow guy?
No, do you know who the NBA player is? Lonzo Ball,
that's
LaMelo
not,
Ball?
that's not the reading
That's
rainbow guy.
LeVar Burton.
Oh, God.
What is Reading Rainbow?
What? You never saw it on a Reading Rainbow. It was the only channel my parents would let me
I
watch.
love how you were the one person in this group who's familiar with both the basketball guy and the reading rainbow person.
What is Reading Rainbow? It's like
Reading
a kids
Rainbow,
channel,
yeah,
or like?
PBS. You know what PBS is?
Yeah, I know PBS.
Yeah, it's super wholesome. And he was this guy who would basically, he was like a TV
like
show.
LeVar Burton or something?
LeVar Burton, and it'd be like storytelling, but like you get kids into reading and shit, you know?
But his name is not Lamar Ball.
Yeah, LeVar Ball.
It's so funny. His last name's Ball, and his like life mission was to get his 3 kids to the NBA. Yeah.
Literally. But like when you watch documentaries of him, he always was teaching his sons that they had to have each other's backs, but it was highly competitive. He would let the older ones beat down on the younger ones in competitive basketball. Not like punish them, but like, you know, get them really competitive. And also there were moments you see as he's like coaching his kids, because he was their coach for various sports leagues. When they up, he was very hard on them, and then just kind of explaining to them why he was acting the way he was. And although the kids would be angry in those moments, you could see that they had a lot of respect for their dad, and they would slowly shape up. And also when they did really bad things, well, maybe they don't show it on camera. He was never like explosive. He still kind of like one of them went to play at UCLA.
Yeah.
Robbed a Louis Vuitton store in China.
Wow.
Got extradited. It was a whole crazy thing, but they had a whole reality show around it. And you just see the way that like in those moments, how he disciplines them, or just has their back. You know what I'm saying? So you could just tell that the kids respect the dad. And not only that, everything he said came true. They're all in the NBA now.
You know, I read an article in the New York Times recently. It was about some golfer. I want to say it was like Anthony Park or something. I'm not sure. But apparently about 10 years ago, people thought he was going to be the next Tiger Woods. He's like a really big deal. And they wrote an article about him because he was at the top of his game and he just stopped playing. And he never gave an explanation why. And the article was trying to figure out, like, why did this potential superstar disappear? And they talked to his dad, and the dad apparently had raised him to be the next Tiger Woods, to be super competitive. And there was like famous stories where whenever his son would win second place trophies in golf, he'd go and like smash them, like throw them away. And his dad was like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that, because apparently they're just completely estranged. And this might have been a contributing factor why this guy who's blessed with golf talent just completely quit. It's never played professionally again.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, the other thing about LeVar Ball too is like he's constantly with his kids. Like he built his whole business around the kids and time around the kids. It's just like, yeah, you put time into something, I assume it's gonna turn out better as long as you are.
So do you think, so you said you're gonna be strict. For me, I'm gonna be the chillest dad ever. I'm honestly, maybe because I had a dad who gave me a lot of expectations, I'd be the total opposite.
He's like,
yeah, I know. I would be like, hey, you want to be like a poet? Go be a poet. You want to weave baskets? I got you. So, what do you think you would be?
I think that your kid has to do hard things, but
Yeah.
I'm going to. I don't think I'd ever hit my kids because it just made me very angry.
Yeah.
So that's kind of I'm like, if I can't have the emotional control to like not hit them, but if I can't teach them a lesson without hitting them, I think that's something wrong with me. So yeah, I would make them do hard things though.
So you would be a little on the stricter side.
Not necessarily strict. I would make sure that they're, playing sports, doing something competitive. I would allow them to be independent. Like I was like biking to school when I was like in first grade. I don't know if that's super independent, but like I did a lot of things alone. And I was like, that made me just independent. I had friends in college that didn't know how to flip an egg. Right. And I knew how to do that. I'd make my own breakfast in second grade.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
I mean, I know people at like 27 don't know how to do their own laundry. So it's like, yeah.
I feel I fall in between the two levels you described. I can do my own laundry, not great at the eggs. Yes. Failed to meet Jeremy's low bar, but I hit Wootak.
Yep.
I'm in
Good
there.
enough for me.
Yeah. Let's do another question.
Yes.
Right.
We're going
Yeah.
to 3?
You're pulling.
I'm pulling this
Oh,
time.
Yeah.
wait, do you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, we can just go
Let's
around.
do it, yeah.
We can do whatever we want.
Or let's just go
Level
straight 3 every
All
time.
Oh,
let's,
man.
let's
see
do
what it
level
says first.
3.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right, here we
scared.
go.
Let's see what it says first. 3 is reflection. That's cool.
So I'll answer. I asked the question, and I want to, ask you guys the same question too, and answer it for you guys too. What do you think I fear the most?
What do we think you fear the most?
Yeah.
I think you fear. Like judgment of others.
Tell me more. What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Just the way that when you came into the podcast the first time, you're like, I'm so nervous of like how that was. Like you're like, was I good? I hope I was good. Like, and I was like, dude, you were fine. You're like, are you sure? Okay. And then you kind of how you were saying that, like, even after you've had certain success, you second guess whether or not you deserve that, and you second guess like how people think of you beyond that. So, yeah, that'd be
I think
my
you're
answer.
right on the money. I think I'm very afraid of not being liked. And I think when I reflect, why is that? Maybe it's because growing up, I felt like I earned validation from doing the right things. When I did things wrong, I got punished super hard. So that just became this optimization machine in Eric. Like, let's not get punished. Let's not get socially excluded. Let's just stay in the group and try and do things that I think will promote those results. And it's no way to live, because you just end up, you're going to be seeing little parts of it, always analyzing, always anxious. It's the biggest reason why for the longest time I never went and did my own thing and did my own company, even though I really wanted to. Because I was like, oh my God, what if it doesn't work well? People are going to think I'm stupid. And I had to build up the psychological security and safety to be like, whatever. Like, I'm just going to do it anyways. But I'm still working at it. Now I'm going to ask, well, what do you think, Wootak, what do you think Jeremy fears the most?
Ooh, what do I think Jeremy fears the most?
Jeremy's like, I'm the man with no fear.
Yeah, I was about to say nothing.
Tigers.
Absolutely correct.
Let's move on. No.
yeah.
What do I think Jeremy fears the most? It's difficult to say.
There's so many.
Yeah. No, actually, it's very. Damn. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, Jeremy's a courageous man.
All right.
I've realized this
fearless
from watching him do stuff. But I would say I feel that Jeremy fears wasted effort. Maybe that like he'll dedicate his whole life to the pursuit of something, and in the end, if it was not the right choice. But it's like, that's maybe not my best. It's like hard because Jeremy is a very like, I've never seen him afraid to do things before. You
Wow.
know what I mean? Like, now that I think about it, he's a quick executor.
Have you seen Jeremy anxious before?
All the time.
Yeah, but in like he's like making himself anxious of like, oh, I got to do as much as possible, like blah blah blah. That's why I picked the wasted effort part, because he's putting so much.
Afraid it's not going to amount to anything.
Yeah, like trying. He does like, for example, for the podcast,
Yeah.
he will nitpick and complain about like, not complain, but like bring up the smallest, most insignificant thing and be like, okay, how can we change this? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, I get that's a good thing, right? Always trying to be better, always trying to optimize. But then sometimes I'm like, you know, you got so much going on. Well, maybe you shouldn't care so much about this tiny thing, so you could be slightly less stressed and focus a little bit more on better things. But I feel like that may come from fear of like, okay, if everything doesn't hit perfectly, this might not work, and then it was all a wasted effort and blah blah blah. Yeah,
Somewhat accurate.
yeah.
How so?
There's just a lot on the line. And this thing, the drink company is now getting to a place where I have responsibility. It's no longer 3 friends in a garage dicking around. Right? I mean, look at your office, right? You have people to look after now.
Yeah, after a while, it begins to matter.
It begins to matter, and that kind of keeps me up at night, because as much as I'm putting time into this, a lot of people are as well, and their well-being now depends on me. It really does. Like, you know, it's like, oh, we're all in this together. It's like, I still hold the most risk for all of you, right? You're trusting me. You're giving me your time. You're giving me your energy, and I don't take that lightly. So that's where I'm kind of like, and then and the other thing too is then you read like Kobe Bryant biographies, or, you know, you just listen to people that have done great things, and they had to go to really great extremes. Like, it, to me, I've yet to find somebody that didn't have to go to that extreme to achieve it.
Yep.
Unless it was just out of pure luck. Like, and obviously once they get to that place, they kind of like, oh, then I cracked and I found a happy medium, right? But I still think it just takes extreme effort to get extreme results. Now, are you guys familiar with Michael Singer, the author? Are you familiar? I think the book that I read was The Surrender Experiment, and I think The Power of Now is his. Maybe that's Eckhart Tolle, but I know that The Surrender Experiment is his. And basically, he had I forgot what his previous career was, but at a certain point, he was like, I'm just gonna go off into the woods, and all I want to do is meditate. So he gave up all his worldly like belongings and was just trying to build a cabin in the woods and meditate. But as he was doing that, right, these random opportunities would start to come to him. So like, he was building his cabin in the woods, and his neighbor was like, hey, can you help me put the roof on? I see you're really good at this. He's kind of annoyed. He was like, I don't want to help you build the roof. But what he committed to himself was like, I'm going to surrender to a higher being, a higher power God. And I'm just going to, everything is about surrender. It's not about me anymore. And long story short, he ends up building a multi-billion-dollar company that sells. But he just documents how this thing of every time that he let go of control or just fell into flow, no matter what, even if it sounded like it wasn't going to make sense, he just kind of ended up in this place that was exactly what he needed. So where I'm kind of getting at with that is he still worked really, really hard, even in that sense. And yeah, he still had to work extremely hard. I don't know. He made it seem like it was all fine and dandy, but to achieve anything great, you have to make extreme sacrifices, kind of where I'm getting at. And I guess that's where I fear that I can't take my foot off the gas.
How do you reconcile not being able to take your foot off the gas with, here's a guy who learned to let go and surrender, and that's what helped him get to the next level?
That's where I'm now at, where I'm trying to figure that out. And so I try to cling on to good habits like diet, sleep, exercise. I don't do a great job of it, but also, like, for example, like, I'm trying to be, you know, I am spiritual. I do believe in God. And so like, even something like Sunday, I had to work that day, and I missed church because I was like, that's 3 or 4 hours out of my day. And like, looking back, it was like, yes, yesterday I'm glad I didn't go because I got a lot done.
Right.
But I'm like, what could I have done the 3 days prior, right, to allow myself that space? Because maybe I would have been more refreshed. Maybe I could have got some learning that would have made me more effective in what I was dealing with. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. That's probably my biggest goal, is figuring out how to surrender and be a little more conscious of not needing to execute so perfectly like a machine. I'm sure you have a lot of parallels with that.
Yeah, I feel that hard because here's the curse of going real hard and doing something really well. When it grows and you want to scale it, Now you're not the one doing it. Now you're the one who's aligning the mission, bringing on the right people and making sure they have the resources to execute. And you can't do it yourself. You got to work through others. And I'm learning that managing is really different from doing. So I get what you're saying, right? I too feel a lot of fear. Karat's like a thing, right? There was a point where it became from Will and myself, my co-founder, just two kids doing a thing to like, oh, this is a company. We employ people. Their livelihoods are dependent on it. People have given us money. There are a lot of expectations on us. And cool, that makes me want to go work super, super hard. But like, there's a limit to what I can do. So I got to hire people. And then when I hire people, like, what am I supposed to do? Be like, work harder. Like,
treat them like your dad.
No, yeah, I'm not going to do that, right? And so it's really hard because I feel great about the people we have. And it's different from when it's just me. I can just go put in 10 more hours and make it happen. How are you supposed to do that when you're working through others? And I think that's why the point of surrender is really interesting, because I think at a certain point, you have to be able to let some of that control go.
Yeah. I know what he fears the most.
What does he fear? Snakes, spiders, heights, public speaking? Not public speaking.
Not public speaking.
He fears love. Or I think he fears never finding love.
Yeah, that was better.
Never finding true love.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Oh, damn. Guy.
Yeah, I don't want this. I don't want this
bleeds.
pity, by the way. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know how to describe it. I think that I've said it on. I've actually described it pretty well. I think I said it on our podcast.
Yeah.
That for a very long time, I replaced my need for love with like lust and cheap validation, like cheap replacements. That it's dug the hole so deep that I know that I have a long journey to heal myself in front of me. And so it's like, and I'm optimistic about the future. I think that was my biggest fear probably a couple months ago. But now I'm optimistic about solving that issue. So yeah.
I feel like that's a super vulnerable place to be in, because I feel like when you love someone, you're also in a weird way surrendering. You're giving up control. You're like, I'm trusting
100%.
so much of my mental and health and sanity to like the whims of another person. And will I find someone who just unconditionally just accepts me?
Do you get that out of your current friend?
I think the girl I'm currently seeing, I think there are parts and moments where I do feel that. And that's why I'm trying to figure it out. And I think it's hard because like this concept of unconditional acceptance, right? Like on the one hand, on paper, it's like, well, this is theoretically impossible. How could you, like every part of me, every little thing I've done, am I really going to find someone who's going to accept that? And you know what's so funny? So I'm not particularly a Christian. I wasn't raised religious, right? But I went to church for the first few times when I was a sophomore in college. And the reason I did, because I went to a sermon and he talked about the concept of grace. Hey, if, say you did something terrible and wrong, and your parents step in to take that punishment for you, maybe we don't have to punish you anymore. And to me, I was like, wait, this makes no sense. Like, this is like a math equation. Like, just because like I was going to whip the kid, now like whipped his dad. Like, that doesn't mean the kid's thing is like chill and okay. It's not like, oh, well, like I whipped one person. Like, they're all the same to me. And it's like, no. Like, well, the dad just out of grace just cares so much and loves so much. He's like, I'm just going to accept this for you, right? And I was like, wow, what a crazy concept. And I bring that up because that was one of the first moments I'm like, wow, maybe not everyone's perfectly rational. I don't think it's rational to unconditionally love someone, but as humans, we're not. And the same motivation that drives a dad to step in when his son's getting punished, maybe there's something, you can find someone who's going to do the same for you as a partner and just accept you, even though rationally they shouldn't.
That's the thing about romantic love, though. I think that it's not unconditional. Like, romantic love is never unconditional to begin with. Like, it's the first version of love in your life that you have to build towards that. Like, the first version of unconditional love is you're born and your parents are supposed to unconditionally love you. The original first is supposed to be God in his creation, right? And then the parents mimics that because you are your parents' creation. But then when you are trying to find your life partner, it's like you always have conditions. Like for most people, number one, attractive. You have to be attracted to
Right.
them, at least physically, right? That's what usually sparks interest. Then it's like, do we mesh well? Are our values and morals together? There's so many conditions if you really think about it.
It's really hard.
Yeah, it's a lot of conditions. So it's like, and then you got all these like, like game gurus and self-help gurus, and they're like, you have to raise your status and this, and that, and you got to be the top 1% and blah, blah, blah to even get a chance. And it's like, and it's not correct, but it's not wrong. Like the more conditions you fill, like, the more mating chances you have. So it's like, yeah, romantic love is conditional, I think, and it builds to be unconditional eventually. Yeah, because once you're 65 and you've been with someone 20 years, like you're not going to care about how they look, what car they drive, right? You're going to just, I've loved you for 20 years. Like, so at any point now, like you're my partner. Like I'm going to do whatever it takes for you. But in the beginning, if you meet someone at 30, you think they're going to do the same thing that, if you were together for 30 years?
That's why if you find somebody that does check those boxes, I guess it's also tough because you're like, well, is it better?
You 100%.
Can I do better?
In my life, I've met people that checks that I feel that we would 100% build unconditional love, but they didn't check they didn't meet certain conditions, so it didn't work out, honestly. Like
They weren't a big booty Latina?
It goes vice versa. They were not.
Every single box was checked except for that one.
No big booty, not Latina. Out of here.
Close. Do you think, have there been people where you feel like do you feel you have unconditionally loved a romantic partner before?
I don't think so. I think I have been in love and have loved women, but unconditionally, no. Because if it was unconditionally, I never would have left them. Like there would have been no condition that would have made me leave.
I think that to really know if you unconditionally love someone, it's only time that will tell.
Yeah.
Unless maybe some things happen, but like.
But that's the thing, right?
Yeah,
Is cheating a condition then? Because if you're with a partner and she cheats on you, you're probably going to leave. But then is that unconditional love? That's why a parent's love, right? True unconditional love, their child could murder somebody and they'll probably be on the child's side, right? My brother could go murder somebody and I would back my brother up because I unconditionally love him. If my wife cheated on me over and over and over again, I would leave her. So it's like, is that
conditional?
That's a condition
I think
that you have to
can-
be loyal to me.
Can't you still unconditionally love someone but do the action that's proper, like where they're not hurting? You're not supposed to unconditionally love someone to where it's harming you, right?
Well,
You don't have to be
that's
like
a one-sided unconditional love.
Yeah, but you
then
don't-
there's a condition.
Yeah, but you don't necessarily have to be taken advantage of, right? To unconditionally love somebody. I think we're thinking of
No,
like the
I agree.
physical aspect of what you're doing, right? Like like your brother, right? You're physically there for him. You put money in his jail account.
Mm-hmm.
You pick up the phone when he calls. You don't just abandon him. But
My brother is not a criminal, by the way. I just wanna,
You're like, for context,
this is hypothetical.
officers, this is hypothetical.
yeah, I mean, does unconditional love have to be?
But that's a condition to me, I feel like, and it's like, it's hard to say. It's
I
hard
think
to,
my
it's what,
takeaway is actually maybe we should not strive for unconditional love.
I don't think it has ever been in a romantic situation, has it been unconditional? Or it's what you build towards, right? Because I think at a certain point, people will not leave their spouse, even if they were to betray them in like a way like cheating. I mean, if you think of like you're 70, it's weird to think that they could cheat on you possibly, but I know it happens, like especially.
Nursing home patients go crazy, man. You don't know. Because at that point, they've lost all judgment. They're like, hey, I just want to.
Yeah, that's true.
Dude,
But it's like, it's just a thing to think about, I think. I'm not saying that I'm right, but like.
No, I kind of like the concept. Like, it's
I
okay
agree.
to have conditional love because conditions, for example, should be not like hurting me.
Yeah, exactly. My condition is that you also like love me enough not to do that.
That is wild, though. You're like, if my brother murdered someone, I would back you up.
Yeah, well, okay, let me take that back for the record. I would.
Your Honor, this is not admissible.
I would 100% turn him in, not hiding no bodies. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think a
Like
lot
you
of.
would put money in his jail
Yeah,
account.
I would bail him out. Like, I wouldn't.
Yeah, you wouldn't hate him as a human being.
Exactly. Even if the world turned against him, maybe I wouldn't publicly be out there like fighting in the streets. Like, no, he's innocent. But I would, be like, I'll be here for you, whatever you need.
Until he pipes your wife or something.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be
But
crazy.
like, no, I don't think he. I think I can unconditionally love. Maybe this is just another random thought. Maybe I can unconditionally love because I know it's reciprocated, and I feel safe in that. Almost, and it's like that happens with family because there's like one blood involved. I've known him all his life. He hasn't known me all my life, but like but yeah.
For a moment, I thought you meant Jeremy. No. He's like, yeah, I met him for the first time on Zoom, but actually, I was
I've
there
been
when he was
following him
born.
his whole life.
All right, level 3, baby. Yeah, of course.
This guy.
Oh no, I identify with that as well in terms of like the angles and everything.
Oh, this is interesting. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
How do our personalities complement each other?
Ooh, that's a good. Wait, I want to hear you
interesting
two
one.
first because you've known each other
Okay.
longer. How do your personalities complement each other?
Ooh.
Damn, Wootak just laughs.
Yeah.
It's like, why am I here?
How do
Well,
I
one way I think they complement each other, at least as business partners, I feel like we're both down to try things right away. Like it's like if I come up with an idea, like a lot of it is like new territory for us, right? Especially with the podcast. So it's like we're not experts. We don't have a formula of creating and blowing up a podcast.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, I think we should do this thing because XYZ reasons. And if he has no rebuttal, instead of an ego, it'll just be like, yeah, let's do it. And then if he, you know what I mean? Like we try, if we have rebuttal, like if we have a reason, then we'll say it. But it's like, we're never like, no, I don't know. What if it doesn't work? Like, I could not work with somebody like that. So I'm glad he's
You're
that
both
way.
willing to try new things.
Yeah.
Yes, I also think the other thing about our personalities is like self-development. Like we really care about like growth as people, and so that allows us to kind of like build each other up and like kind of check each other. I feel like I can be very honest with him about the struggles I'm going through or what he's going through, and he gives good advice, right? So I think that because we both care about growth and we both care about being like the best version of ourselves, as like cliche as that might sound, like we're able to push each other
So you're business partners
and lovers.
Yeah.
and lovers, of course. That was not public until now. Hype news.
Yes.
We're coming out.
Yes.
Big deal. You're also friends.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you balance the business relationship with the friendship?
Oh, this is a great one. I love this one. Here's
Jeremy's
why.
like, I've been waiting for this.
No. Here's why. Because I think there's a huge difference of being friends with somebody and then starting a business.
Yeah.
That's a way harder route than meeting somebody
Through business.
and then becoming friends.
Yeah.
Because even with the Nectar company, right, it started off with me approaching some people that I'd worked with prior that I'd become friends with, and also people that I was friends with and that we're now working together. And I would say that it's by science. The people that I was friends with beforehand, it was way more difficult. There was a lot more new boundaries that we had to set versus the people that I had already worked with prior. So I think that in terms of work, it's a breeze because we started off as a business relationship.
Yeah. And with business relationships, you choose off of like merit and your ability to work together first. And then if you realize, hey, we would be good friends, like that kind of builds, that's like an added bonus off top of, on the top of a great first layer.
I love that. So for context, my co-founder and myself, we're also co-CEO.
Oh.
So completely equally split power and equity. And we started as friends.
Oh, really? I thought you meant an Instagram though.
No, well, I was at Instagram, but I met him just playing board games. He was doing his own thing. He was running a venture fund, right? And so in the beginning, we weren't like, oh, let's start a company together. It grew naturally and organically, and we had to build new boundaries. And our friendship changed because, yeah, you get it. You can't actually work with your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to change you have to change, like, you can't be the same level of friend and still have a productive business relationship. I agree.
It's super tough. It's
really hard.
So yeah, are you comfortable sharing?
Yeah,
like,
of course. We're open about all of it.
Yeah, no, just maybe share like what was like the first really big fight, or like what was the first thing you had to overcome, and like what's a boundary you guys have now?
So, like, for example, my co-founder and I, when you're friends, it's easy to focus on the things you're similar in. You don't notice the things you're like really different in. But like my co-founder and myself, like we're also very different in a lot of ways. Like here's one really good example. For me, like what I do with Karat, the relationships I build there, they also become my friends, right? I'm building a business relationship with both of you, and I'm building a personal relationship with both of you too. They're related and they're separate. And I actually love that. Most of my friends, actually almost all of my friends, are people that are other creators and other founders who might overlap with me in a business context, because they're people who can help me improve and maybe even help Karat, right? And I just naturally gravitate toward that type. Will's friends tend to be completely removed from any work he does with Karat. Like they could just be like totally doing something totally different whatsoever. And they could just be the type of person that Will can just like go chill and like hang out with and like get dinner and like drink. And for me, my friendships tend to always be focused on like
Some type of business or related relationship.
if not business, not necessarily business, but hey, like what's on your mind? Like, yo, what's the dream? What's stopping you? Like, let's talk about this versus like, yo, let's just like chill. I'm not good at that, but he is. And so we realized early on this was fine because we would get dinners together, which like is what he likes. It's just like very chill. We're just, having fun. And for me, these dinners, because I was like, wait, like this guy's awesome. Like we can do stuff together. It was a lot of just like pushing each other, which eventually led to Karat. And now sometimes, there was a point where my co-founder was like, hey man, I don't feel like I get to do friendship stuff with you anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like we were literally working together all the time. We were building. He's like, when's the last time, I've like asked you just to get dinner and just like hang out with me and just like chill. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize like that was like a requisite thing for you in a friendship. Like to me, like we work together all the time. This is building friendship.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, for me, like we don't just like hang out and just not talk about work. I was like, oh.
I'm having an interesting thought to ask then. I feel like I'm more like you. I feel like you're more like that. But if in a situation where I'm hanging out with people completely unwork related, I end up talking about something to do with work, career, like
me
all the
too.
time. That's my preferred topic of conversation. I have the
Same.
most fun talking about that stuff. It feels the most natural. It feels the most like I'm excited about it. I want to know about what you do. Maybe I can help you. So for us, maybe the topics of our free time is still career and business related. And then for him, maybe he likes the escape where if he's chilling with people, he can completely be like, oh, let's talk about rock climbing or Pokemon. And I can't really do that. I just feel like I'm wasting energy and time. So I'd rather friends. I like hanging out with friends where our conversations, even over dinner, it's like what he's got going on, what I got going on. Oh, that's so cool you did that. What if you did this? And then he in the same way, gives me advice and
I'm the same way, and I had to learn. My co-founder is as much, if not more, dedicated to Karat than I am. It's just processed and expressed in a different way.
Exactly, yeah. So I feel like that's why maybe we have friends that like if I look at my life now, right? They're all creator friends I met in some way, or like people that I work with, right? Like I don't really hang out with people that I have zero work or career relation with.
That also relates to time though, right? It's like you're all day you spend working, and then if you go shoot the podcast, it's like you're hanging out with us, and then with that little
I don't
time.
consider that hanging out though. That's work.
Oh,
yeah.
but
Damn, Jeremy.
I consider it fun. It's like fun.
It's fun.
For me.
It's fun
It's my
work.
favorite part of work. If I'm I got to shoot the podcast.
100%. But it's like I'm going there for the podcast.
Yeah, it is work.
Yeah.
It's work and fun.
Exactly.
I think that's
It's
the biggest
fun
like
work.
for things can be both. Yeah.
I
but then
agree.
right after that, it's like, okay, I have my evening free now. What do I got to do? It's probably more work. If I have one sliver of time, it's like, who am I going to spend it with? I'm going to try to maximize that little time I have with, somebody that is going to it's going to propel everything forwards, right? So
I think
then I choose.
I think we're all in this one mode of thinking, but I've met people like my co-founder. Like for him, the most productive way is because he gets to spend time thinking with people outside of it. It just makes him a better human being, able to come and grind forward in a way that I can't. Like I will sometimes some of the hardest decisions at Karat are the ones that Will has made because he has the presence of mind to be thinking through the long term. Weirdly, I'm always thinking short term, maybe. And
I have that issue too.
yeah. And so it was a learning point for me because like he's different and this is not how I think. And I had to learn this is his way of carrying up the company and his way of doing friendships. That's like just different from how I do it.
Exactly. No, I agree. I've met people like your co-founder, and it took me a while to realize like, and then it's like if you are friends with a person like that, right? And especially in your guys' scenario, it's very intriguing because you're literally co-CEOs, but like then they might feel offended that you never want to, you know what I mean? Like it goes,
Oh, totally.
it's like a weird.
He's like, why aren't you just hanging out with me? And I'm like, why aren't you going to the 15th creator party tonight? It goes both ways.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
we need each other.
Yeah,
So.
and exactly. And you both just once it's like love languages, right? Like in a relationship,
Yes.
when you learn your partner's love language, it gets everything they do becomes easier to understand. So in the same way, your friendship language has to be understood.
Genius idea. Make this like a work language.
Oh yeah, yo, work language.
Work language is like
Work language is
That
crazy.
is genius.
That is genius. What would your work language be?
Work harder. Work harder for me, and I know you do.
I actually think
That is a good way to
Yeah,
describe
that's-
yours.
I actually think this work language concept is huge.
What about you? How would you describe yours? Try to keep it like 3 words or less, like he did.
I love you're just like adding on these roles. You're just like popping them
No, because
in.
it just was like
Wootak.
work harder was such a simple way
Yeah,
to
I
like.
know.
Wootak's was big booty Latina.
Wootak's like 3 words
Why do we
or
keep
less.
saying that?
It's got to rhyme. Iambic pentameter, please. I think for me, okay, before I answer that, I'm going to say this. I think the reason why, like, why are we even doing this podcast, right? Because, like, people select for the things they like. I think it's because all 3 of us are similar, i.e., our business and work and personal friendships all kind of go together. Like, I feel like all of us are focused on self-development. Yo, we got a chance here. Like, this is also work, but it's also fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think all 3 of us vibe on that. And I think at the end of the day, that's why we're doing the podcast, right? Because people don't do the things they hate.
Yeah.
You know? So if
Very
we're
true.
doing this, like, this is also like spare time. This is like 8 p.m., you know?
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
doing it because we also like it, you know? So I think my work language is, okay, I'm going to say it's more than 3 words.
Okay, that's okay. I'll let you break the rules.
Thank you, Wootak. I think it's
Thank you.
someone, this does tie to what I just said. I think someone who can balance me. And here's what I mean by this. I am very short-term intense and very reactive. And I'm a big believer, we don't have strengths and weaknesses. We have the same capabilities that different situations present differently. That capability I just said, I'm very reactive, very short-term. Some situations, that's a huge strength.
Yes.
I can network. I can do things in the moment that other people look at. They're like, wow, how did he do it? And in other situations, when it comes to long-term planning, I am ass. And I love my co-founder. Dude, I could not run Karat without him. Like,
I
this
feel the
would
same way about my
not be
co-founder.
a company without him. And he provides that long-term balance and longer-term thing, which sometimes I argue with him and he argues with me because we don't agree, but I couldn't do it without him.
Yeah.
So I need someone who can balance me, but be able to, like, they gotta be different, but they still gotta be able to, like, know when I'm being intense and, like, sit and hold with it and, like, let me do my thing too. That's more than 3 words. Wootak, what's your
Yeah.
work language?
Jeez. Oh. I've been thanking.
Big booty.
So it's weird because what I'm building my work language to be now is completely different from what it was, let's say, pre-ayahuasca.
Damn, this really was an inflection point
Dude,
in your
what-
life.
I said 180 degree, and I wasn't lying. It was like genuine 180
It's a really good
degree.
thing you didn't say 360
Oh,
degrees.
yeah, no. Hey, man, I'll give you some credit.
Because I've said this before. I'm like, I made a 360 degree turn. It's like all the way. Oh, I can't even turn all the way. Like, what?
Yeah, I've heard people say that a few times, and I thought about it. Like,
Yeah, you're like, bro,
That's
you're right
not-
back
that's
where
not
you
right.
started. All right, 180 degrees.
Okay, so before it was very like, in a negative term, like independent, too independent. Everything, it just relied on me. Especially in my type of business where the content is me.
Yeah, it's
like,
you,
you know,
the
all,
brand.
and exactly, I'm the brand. And then, but in the plus side, it was also full. I was very accountable because it was like I blame myself for anything that went wrong, anything that went right. It was because of me. So that's like a good trait that I learned from it. But overall, like now that one of the things I learned during my journey was like the things that brought me to this point, which is the way I had to be to get here because I came from nothing, had no support. So everything was, of course, alone. So it was like just more. You know what I mean? If I fail, it's like you piece of do better, like, you know, that type of mentality. But now that I am at this point and I have this thing built already, there's tons of capable people that are willing to help me. And so now he's a good example, right? But that's building almost like a separate thing, like Under the Influence podcast. It definitely benefits everything I'm building as an ecosystem.
Bar
but
chemistry,
but bar
yeah.
chemistry itself, it's like, well, now I need partners and stuff. And it's like, you know, if I want someone to join me, and I did everything in chaos because it was like me, right? And it's like, take every opportunity, grab it, anything, any chance I get, take it all, and then just overload myself. And just, if I can't do it, just do more and like sleep less or whatever, right? Or like, and then it was, but it was just like, there's no way to like introduce someone to help me in that type of environment. Like, I wasn't long-term thinking, you know what I mean? It was just like, what's the next
I
goal?
feel like I so
Boom, boom,
identify.
boom.
Yo,
Yeah.
I'm so similar. Yeah.
So now I'm like working with people who are like potentially long-term partners, potentially, and And they're very talented at what they do, and they have the personality traits, like you said, that balance me, right?
Yeah.
Where he's like, okay, maybe a slowdown, and looking at the long-term strategy, like, will the time we're spending for these next 3 weeks to really capture this one opportunity, is that going to benefit us long-term? And like that type of thinking. So yeah.
You got the impulse, you're just like, do.
Yeah, exactly. Which is good. Which, like you said, it's in certain situations, that's the power you need to be. But it's not every time that you need to be like that. So yeah.
Have you noticed pre and post ayahuasca? Have you feel like you've noticed a change in Wootak?
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's subtle. It's not like he all of a sudden doesn't crack jokes or he's like different, but like
It's like, who are you, body snatcher?
just more thoughtful in the things he says, the actions he does, and in terms of, you guys got to tune into the episode to see what his addictions were, but completely curbed them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
You stopped addictions after.
Yeah, honestly, way more
8-year
suddenly than I thought.
conditioning.
Was it 8?
Not, dude.
More like an 11-year.
Yeah,
11 years of conditioning, I think. Yeah.
Just substances are different.
So I'll just say it.
No, they gotta watch the full episode. Bleep this here. No, I'm just kidding.
We can keep hype for the
No.
episode.
Yeah.
Because I think if we talk about it, people will want to.
It also makes sense to what we were saying before. So like the fear of not finding love. I was a sex addict. So like,
Gotcha.
yeah, that's what I meant by like replacing my need for love with lust. It was like because one, I feel like I've always been very into the idea of romantic love, even from a child, right? Even more so than most other people, I feel like. And then, but that manifested in me in negative ways. And then it became just like a constant chase of like the next girl rather than like one girl that could fulfill me. So then every girl felt like I was digging a hole deeper. And yeah, and then, after freaking 27 now, so it's like it's been a while of doing that. And
Dude, I feel grateful. Like,
Yeah.
that is hard to share.
It was, when I was making that episode, I wrote out, I had already written everything that I learned from the journey, but it was I had left out a lot of it, like maybe half, and I still shared for over 2 hours. And it was like hella scary to me because it was like, this is the most vulnerable, f***ed up part of myself.
Intimate.
Yeah, that like, if I share this the wrong way, it could be taken out of, you know what I mean? So I really honed in on like, one, do I even want to share it? And I did, because when I would share this journey with people close to me, it's like they went through it just from me sharing it, and they made changes in their behaviors. And, other people I told, they would like this marketing guy I work with, right? Yeah. I over lunch that I was having with him, I told him like parts of it. And then he went and told our mutual friend, he's like, bro, I got to change my life. Like, I got to do this different now. I got to do that. Like, he told him on the side. He didn't say that to my face. But then that friend, who's our mutual friend, comes and tells me, he's like, bro, stop telling my friends these things. Now he doesn't want to go out. Now he doesn't want to wingman me. He's like, and I'm like, whoa. So, like, he didn't say it to me, but he is like, it made him contemplate some of the actions he's taking in his life. Same with my brother, I feel like, my roommate, my best friend. So, like,
You can see, it is... The hardest thing is to like share something that I'm scared of.
Yes.
And I think the most precious thing is when someone shares that with you. Mm-hmm. And so like, one, I just feel like, actually, like, thank you for sharing. That is powerful. And I can totally see, when you share that with others, people can be like, wow, like Wootak actually really cares about our relationship, because why else would he go out to this length and share this with me? Mm-hmm. And seeing, it sounds like they're also experiencing changes and reflections too.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. I believe that too.
Proud of you.
Thanks, man.
Let's do another question. How many more questions do you guys want to do?
I mean, how much time?
Yeah, what's the time?
Oh, I'm whatever, but I want to be conscious of you guys.
Oh,
I didn't realize.
Yeah, we were way
let's do
over.
one more.
Yeah, let's
One
do
more.
one. I had
One more.
no
Damn.
idea.
Finish it.
Oh,
Yo, time
shit.
went by fast.
Eric just wraps us up in his world.
One more.
Okay, we'll do.
Sorry, Wootak's messaging person. Sorry,
Oh,
I
man,
went
yeah,
way
this
over.
is-
Oh, super late.
Yeah.
Yo, I am sorry, guys. I should have been keeping track of time.
No worries.
We'll do one more.
Yeah, one more. We'll keep it quick. This is the level 3.
Oh, it's a wild card? Do a different one.
Oh yeah, wild card.
All right, last one.
This is a wild card too. Is these just
all
all wild
wild
cards? What's a wild card?
The game's trying to trap us here.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
it's not. They're all wild cards.
These are all really good. Which one you want to do?
Oh,
I like this one.
I
What-
like this one's like the
You like this
conclusion.
one?
yeah, I like
It's
that
the
one.
clear-
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one?
because it's a conclusion.
I will do
Yes,
this one.
Yes.
All right, gents. What is a lesson you will take away from our conversation?
Should I go first?
Yeah, you go first.
I think in everything we talked about, our parents, everything we talked about, our co-founder relationships, everything we talked about balance in our life and where we want to be, I think that it's really important that I slow down and I take the time to make space for things that I think don't matter, because something in my gut tells me I'm going to regret it if I don't. And I did burn out in my previous career, and I said that I would never end up in that space.
Yeah.
And I can see habits creeping back in, and every time, I give myself the space to act like or do the things that burned me out in the first place, I'm headed back towards that same place, and I care about everything that I've built way more. So surrender and slow down is probably what I learned.
Surrender.
Yeah.
Wootak, what about you?
Keeping some of your closest relationships should be people that either contrast or complement you. I think the thing about your co-founder and how well your relationship does, but how different your friendship languages and work languages are, I think that's important.
I think for me, the concept like, wow, maybe love can be conditional. I just never thought of it that way before, but listening to you describe it, I'm like, then it becomes, what are the conditions that are the deal breakers for you versus trying to find people who just will completely accept you in every single way that you can feel the same.
Yeah.
Bars.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Hey, let's blow out the candle. 1, 2, 3.